Good morning, all of you amazing trailblazers out there today. I don't know about you guys, but to say that I am not ready for the holidays is like an understatement. And trust me, I do recognize that technically for some of us, it is Christmas Eve. So, um, yeah, I mean, where and I think I've said this a few times this week and last week, where has this year gone? So, Kristen Kramer here with Girl Friday Virtual Office, and today is Friday, and although our screen in the back doesn't say it, I'm here to share with you an installment of Chuck It in the Fuck It Bucket Friday. So this week I attempted to stay around a bit of a theme and something that I'm going to try to do more often. I realize that will help all of us sort of, follow along and be on the same page. And we have been talking about just figuring out what's working, what's not working, and also using that to identify what we want by way of knowing what we do not want, right? So using what we do not want to identify what we do want, also identifying what habits we have that are creating the scenarios we don't want, and by reason of logic, looking at ways that we can implement what we do want so that we can start experiencing our days in a way that we want to experience them versus, getting to the end of each day or the end of the week and feeling as though we're not very accomplished or, landing ourselves right back at the land of woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Because that's a sucky place to spend your time. So, for me, one of the things that I have struggled with, besides the camera video color in the renditions of Kristen this year, is this whole concept around a 15-minute discovery call. Now, I got to tell you, I'm fascinated by the 15-minute discovery call. And I think to myself, wow, I mean, I would love to master that and have 15-minute discovery calls. I'm sure I have people who have been on a call with me that would also have loved for me to have mastered a 15-minute discovery call. It is what it is at this point, right? Nothing I can do about all these other calls I've had. But I have decided that, you know what? It really just isn't my style. And it isn't because I'm a talker. I mean, clearly that can play into it, right? But I do know how to stay within 15 minutes. I do know how to speak succinctly, even though I don't always display that. So that's not really the issue. My issue is that the whole point of a discovery call is to decide if you and I want to work together and continue our conversation. So the first part of it, I just don't think can really be accomplished in 15 minutes. The second part of it, which is the, do we want to continue our conversation? That can probably be figured out in 15 minutes very easily. But for me, what's really important when I get on a discovery call is to understand where you're at in your business and are the reality of the days that you are experiencing matching up to your expectations of what those days should look like? And are they matching up to the priorities and goals that you set for yourself, right? So it's this whole concept of, is our reality mirroring our expectation and our desire? Or maybe is our desire and our expectation being reflected in our reality? Maybe that's a better way to say it. And a lot of times when I get on the phone with someone and, they're in this state of overwhelm and stress, the answer is no. There's a complete mismatch between the two things. And it's completely out of alignment, right? Like it's just completely out of whack. And I suspect that a lot of times what's happening and why we stubbornly persist in holding on to that overwhelm and stress are for a couple of reasons. The first thing that comes to me is that I think we fear the success that comes when the overwhelm is alleviated from our day-to-day functioning. So, we're able to operate at a more optimal level, be more productive, be more focused, have more energy, and propel ourselves forward, right? And I know a lot of folks would say, well, no, it's fear of failure. Well, certainly that is true. But think about it. If you are already overwhelmed, like where you are in your business, be it at the very beginning of your business, launching your business, or maybe you've started growing, you have a few clients, or you are on the cusp of scaling your business, maybe for the first time, or maybe for the second, third, or fourth time or more, right? I think what happens to us, and I know that this is what has happened to me in the past. So I'm just going to speak from my own experience here and share this with you. When I'm in a state of overwhelm, like when I first started my business, right? And I started to, because I think at each stage of your business, you go through periods of overwhelm. And that's usually when you're going through a lot of change. All right. So when I first started my business and that overwhelm started to set in, the thought process was, holy shit. I mean, I'm overwhelmed now and I only have a couple clients. I mean, what's going to happen when I get more clients? I can't even manage what I currently have, let alone more clients, right? So that translates, at least for me, what it translated into was sort of this fear of success. I didn't worry about failing. I mean, I launched my business and was like, there is no plan B. And I am sure I have friends and colleagues that can remember when I launched Girl Friday Virtual Office and they were like, what if it doesn't work? What are you going to do? And I was like, what do you mean? What if it doesn't work? It's going to work. Like there's no plan B. And that was very atypical of me because I'm a bit of a planner and I like to have, like a fallback, sort of like, worst case, best case scenario kind of gig, or, thought process of, what do you happen if it, all unravels? What are you going to do? But I didn't have that when I started my business. I was like, oh, hell no. Like, this is it. Like it's Girl Friday or bust. Like, that's it. And bust isn't going to happen because I'm in total control of whether I succeed or not. And so I'm going to succeed. But again, when that overwhelm began to kind of set in, then I really think it flipped the switch of being afraid of becoming more successful. Because again, if you're struggling to manage what you already have on your plate, what are you going to do when you have even more on your plate to manage, right? So you get sort of fearful of taking on more because you're afraid you won't be able to manage it. And the other piece of it is by admitting that you are overwhelmed and you can't manage what's already on your plate and you don't have any clue how you're going to manage more. You know, if you get more successful and you bring on more clients and you grow, you don't know how you're going to deal with that. It kind of leaves you feeling like a dumbass, right? Because you're like, I am a capable, intelligent, resourceful entrepreneur, and I should be able to figure this out. It is not that fucking hard. Like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why can I not figure this out? What is wrong with me? Right? Maybe that's your dialogue. Maybe you can relate to that. That certainly was my dialogue. And so, you know, you deal with this overwhelm. So when I'm on the call with somebody, that's usually the state they're in. They're in the state of overwhelm. And like I said, I suspect whether they will admit it or not, or whether they consciously recognize it or not, some of that brings with it a fear of success or more success, and a fear of looking like a moron. I mean, nobody wants to look stupid. So clearly I don't mind because I'm doing live broadcasts. Just dive right on in. But you got to be able to laugh at yourself a little bit. All right, side note. But for me to really understand what is creating that crushing sense of overwhelm in your world, I need more than 15 minutes, because it can take longer than 15 minutes for someone to open up and share with me where the real struggle is. Overwhelm is a symptom of something else. I mean, it's the result or the end product of something that you are or are not doing. Okay. More often than not, it's a symptom of something you are doing. And that could be spending time on tasks that are not your job. Okay. Not setting boundaries, not controlling access to your energy and your time and resources. You are the gatekeeper. If you're leaving your gate wide open for anybody to walk through whenever they feel like it, you are going to feel very overwhelmed and have a lot of chaos. But see, we don't learn those things. Like, nobody sits down and tells you all of that. And honestly, let's face it, even if they did, like, even if they were like, look, I admire that you're starting your business and I think it's great, but let me give you the 101 things that I fucked up when I started my business so that you can avoid your pitfalls. Now think back to when you were like a teenager and your parents are attempting to help you avoid the pitfalls in life that they experienced as they were growing up. And you were like, whatever, I already know my shit, so fuck off. Right? Like, I don't need you telling me anything. So that, I think, is a lot of where it all stems from. But again, like, nobody really ever sits down and teaches us these things. And even if you read about it and you hear somebody give you that advice, until someone sits down with you and really like works through that process with you, it still may feel very foreign. And really, another thing is, if you don't have anybody to give you feedback of like, yes, you're on the right track, like, keep going, like, that direction, keep going that direction, or whoa, hold on, you need to take a left turn here, or you need to nudge right, or we need to do a U-turn completely and maybe hit the pause button, figure out where we're at, right? If you don't have somebody that can go through the experience with you, right, and also understands where you're at because they've been there before, so, you know, kind of like a Sherpa taking you to the top of the mountain, right, then you don't have the feedback on whether or not you're headed in the right direction. So you're just sort of hoping you're heading in the right direction, and either things are going really well or they're still really screwed up. and you use those as your indicators to know if, you know, you're headed in the right direction and doing the right things. But again, like sometimes it's just really helpful to have somebody that can walk through those things with you. And then, hey, I know we hate the word, but I'm going to use it. It's such a dirty word. Accountability. I know nobody likes to be held accountable. Trust me. I'm sure I feel the same way. I won't admit it, but I'm sure I do secretly. But you need somebody to say, hey, look, we sat down, we talked about, you know, you were going to put these things in place. How's that working out for you? So sometimes it's just a matter of knowing that somebody is going to check to see how you're progressing. Sometimes that's enough accountability for folks. Sometimes, you know, I'll have clients that are like, I do not need or want you to, you know, like nag me or check in with me on things like that, you know, because it stresses me out and I don't want to go through that. So then the conversation of, well, how can I best support you then, right? How can I best support you in your efforts, and how can I best really help you stay on track? So maybe we don't use the dirty word accountability. Maybe we rephrase it a little bit, you know, use our art of semantics, because in the end, it's getting us in the, you know, in the same place. So food for thought. But for me this week, I have decided that 15-minute discovery calls are getting chucked in the fuck it bucket, because I'm tired of trying to figure out how to shove that square peg through the circle hole. It's not my style, and I just really have not excelled at it. And I think it's just because my style of connecting with people and being able to help them, you know, I ask a lot of questions and, you know, explore, you know, kind of where their ideas are and where they are in their space and where do they want to be. And I can't do it in 15 minutes. I just can't. I just can't. I mean, I could if it were just transactional, you know. Okay, so are you going to sign up with me? Are we going to do business together? Yes or no? So if I had a very transactional discovery call, then yeah, I could do that in 15 minutes. But I don't like transactional relationships. Oh, that sounds, well, anyway, I'll just leave that there. Anyway, I would rather have a better understanding of where my clients are and what their goals are. Because the next conversation I have with them is going to be digging in on, okay, let's get your program set up. Let's get you started. Let's talk about when we're going to have your kickoff call and what that's going to look like. That's how that, you know, I want that to go. But what, you know, we're at the end of the year, right? The magical end of the year, we're coming up on it. And this is when everybody starts doing their self-evaluation, looking deep inside. Okay, maybe not that deep for all of us, you know, but a moment of reflection to decide where we are and what we want to set as our New Year's resolutions, if you do that. So I will ask you, just from, you know, hopefully if you did the challenge this week, you know, what is it that you discovered that you want to chuck in the fuck it bucket today? Because the key is to chuck it in the bucket and not continue to perpetuate that activity or experience into the following week and the week after that, right? We want to chuck it in the fuck it bucket, get rid of it, stop doing it, and look at what worked really well for us over the past week and make sure that we are setting ourselves up to perpetuate and build upon those types of activities and habits and that focus, because that's where you're going to grow your success. So I want to know what you're chucking in the fuck it bucket today. And if you're not sure, just write down the first thing that comes to your mind. Sometimes we overthink it, and just go with your first thought that pops in there. And I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. I know some holidays, we're already underway. Christmas is coming up. Yule is coming up. Actually, I think we're a little past Yule. But I hope everybody gets to take some time off, truly unplug, decompress if you need to decompress. Most of us usually do. And just be present this weekend with whatever it is that you're doing, whomever it is that you're spending it with, and be present in those moments and engage in those moments. Don't focus on the past, and don't be obsessed with tomorrow. Just be in the now, and build on those memories and enjoy the holiday season. And next week we roll right into New Year, and then bam, 2022. So next week, got an interesting challenge for you on Making Bold Moves Monday. So tune in on Monday at 9 a.m. Central and check out what the challenge is. And, let's see what we can do with it. In the meantime, Merry Christmas, Happy Yule, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. And if nothing else, you know what? Happy into 2021. We are almost there, and we've almost made it to the finish line of 2021. So nothing else, we can celebrate another year under our belt. So happy holidays. I wish you the very best, and I hope that you get to take part and enjoy some of the seasonal celebrations that we have coming up this weekend, next week, and hopefully you've been enjoying some of them throughout the month. So take care, and I will see you on Monday. And go out there and dare to dream big and make some bold moves, even if a bold move means not checking your email all weekend. That's a bold move. All right. I'll see you guys Monday. Have a good one, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and go out there and enjoy it. Thanks so much.